Hey guys, it's Gabe back again with another painting tutorial. Yes! Today we're going to be painting this painting right here. It's a wonderful red sunflower. The colors that you're going to use for this painting, we got red, chrome orange, deep yellow, burnt umber, black, and we have cobalt blue, and lastly some white. And the brushes we're going to use, we have a fat brush like this, and I'm going to name him Megatron. And we also have another pointed brush like this. It's probably about an 1/8 inch or so, and I'm going to name him Ignacio. You'll also need a paper towel and a water cup. Alright, so we're going to hit the ground running. Let's go ahead and take Megatron out. We're going to dip him inside the water cup and dab him on the paper towel. Dab, dab. And the first color we're going to use is just this pure cobalt blue. So we're going to dip both sides of Megatron into the cobalt blue. And I'm just going to go with my brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and work my brush in every single direction. I'm not just going to go left, down, or diagonal. I'm going to do all three and just go kind of crazy with my brush strokes here. The main thing about this background is that it's very, very textured. It's not one flat color, so we want to make sure that our background is very textured. Don't mix in your brush too much, because then you'll get one flat color, and that's not what we're going for. We want to get that nice blue texture. So I'm bringing this line down about 3 inches or so. And we're also going to do the sides where the blue is touching and the top as well. And now we're going to practice a technique called dry brushing. So I'm going to take a little bit of the paint off of my brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and dry brush it down here. You'll see that it's a little bit more of a wispy texture. Doesn't go on as thick. And I'll just bring it right there. So I'm going to go ahead and create a little bit of a lighter blue here. So let's go ahead and take a scoop of this white paint and put it off to the side right there of our plate. And now we'll take a scoop of this blue paint, and we're going to mix the two together. We're going to make a lighter blue. And now with this lighter color, I'm just going to go in and fill in a little bit lower on the canvas here. I'm going to bring this blue down, and now you'll see that it naturally creates this gradient going from a darker blue to a lighter blue. So go ahead and bring some of that light blue up into this other blue here. We just want to make sure it's nice and textured. We want a bunch of texture on this painting. That's what it's all about back here. And we're going to bring this color down to about the halfway point of the canvas. And as you can see, that the flower is going to sit right here on the right, so I'm not going to really fill in from here on out down to this bottom right corner, because it's going to be covered up with the sunflower anyways. So we're just going about halfway down. Get it over to the side too. Perfect. Now that we're down a little bit over halfway, I'm going to take some of this paint off of my brush. I'm going to wipe it off on the side of the plate. And I'm just going to go ahead and just dry brush it down a little bit. So our next color that we mix in there, it'll have a nice blend going between the two colors. So we're about 2/3 of the way down on the canvas now. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and mix some more white into that light blue that we made. We're going to make a very, very light blue. So this is going to be the lightest blue yet. That's about the color you're going for right there. And now from here, I'm just going to go ahead and fill it in from the bottom here. Remember to keep your brush strokes all crazy, going every single which way. And now we'll bring some of that light color up into the middle so it has a nice little blend. And congratulations, you are done with the background. So we'll go ahead and retire Megatron into the water cup, and we'll go ahead and take out Ignacio. And now the next color we're going to use is the burnt umber. We're going to measure off about 5 inches in on the bottom. Make a little mark right here. And now we're going to mark 5 inches again, coming from the bottom to the top right here. There we go. So we have those 2 marks. And now we'll just go ahead and draw a quarter circle, joining those 2. And now we can go ahead and fill in the rest of this area with the brown paint. Put some brown paint on your brush, maybe grab a little bit of yellow too. And we're just going to go in and dab this whole circle up. We're just going to fill in this circle. So this part of the painting is going to be very textured as well. Don't forget to wrap the brown around to the side of the canvas as well. Now let's go ahead and put a little bit of black onto our brush here. I'm not going to worry about cleaning them off. I'm just going to go ahead and make the center of this circle a lot darker than the rest of it. So I went up about 2.5 inches or so. So now that the paint's dry, we can go ahead and start blocking off where some of these sunflowers are going to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Ignacio back out. You wanna get all of the brown paints off him, so go ahead and clean them off. And now the next color I'm gonna use is pure white. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and make my first measurement. And let's go ahead and make a line going right here, going straight down. It's about 4 inches in from the right hand side there. And I'm just gonna kind of make a triangle out of this. And also I'm gonna go ahead and make a little triangle over here. This sunflower kind of just hangs off the edge of the canvas here. And now the next point that I'm gonna make is over here. It's about 1 or 2 inches down from the top of the canvas and a little bit over halfway. And we're just gonna draw a straight line. And that line connects over down to the pistil of the flower. And we'll just go ahead and thicken this part up here to make it a nice little triangle. And I'll go ahead and fill that area in with white. And these petals get fatter and rounder the more they go down. So you can go ahead and just make that nice and round over here on the end. The next petal that we're gonna do is about halfway down on the canvas and about 1/3 of the way in. So about halfway and 1/3, go ahead and make a little dot. And then we'll just connect this line over to the pistil. And we'll make it that nice flower teardrop shape. And we'll go ahead and fill it in with white. And this line kind of curves. And now lastly, we're just gonna go ahead and block off this last petal over here. And this petal is gonna stick out a little bit more than this one here. And it's gonna be about 3 inches up from the bottom. So about right here. And we'll just go ahead and draw a nice straight line going all the way to the pistil again. And we'll go ahead and make the middle of this petal the thickest part. And this petal is gonna kind of hang off the bottom of the canvas. And this top petal over here, it kind of hangs off. We have about 1.5 inches right here hanging off the top. So we'll go ahead and fill it up from the left and just make this petal a little bit wider in general. So that's the base of these main sunflower petals right there. And we're gonna go ahead and do these in the background now. So for that, we'll go ahead and clean off Ignacio. Give him a nice little bath in the bathtub. Oh, Ignacio.
Ignacio.
And this next color we're gonna use is we're gonna go ahead and mix the yellow and the orange together. And we'll go ahead and draw out where these petals are gonna go. So we'll start off with this first one here. It goes right in the center and it connects right where these 2 other petals intersect. So we'll go ahead and just make them a nice little triangle. Awesome, now I'll take some of this paint off of my brush and I'm gonna go ahead and use the red paint. And now from the bottom, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill it in with some red and bring it up into the orange. Awesome, now we have that fade from red to orange going. And while that's drying a little bit, I'll go ahead and move on to my next petal. And this one's gonna sit right here in between these 2. So you wanna be right in the center more or less, and go ahead and just make a nice little line right down the middle. And the trajectory is if it was going to the pistil as well. And as you can see, it's kind of like a flame shape, so we'll go ahead and just widen this up and give it that shape. If you overlap your other petals, it's fine. And then I'll go ahead and go back with the red paint and fill in some red down here. You want to follow the shape of the petals, so do your brush strokes going out towards the end of the petal. Alright, we're going to go ahead and move on to this one over here. So again, the yellow and the orange paint. We're going to go in the center of these 2 and just go ahead and draw a line going down to the center of the piston. And we're going to make this flame shape again. And now I'm going to go ahead and put some red back on my brush. And I'm going to bring that red up directly from the center. And again, my brush strokes are just going right out to the end of the petal. Moving right along, we're going to go ahead and do this petal back here. So we're going to get the yellow-orange mix back on our brush. And we're going to go bring it out to the center. And then again, we're just going to go ahead and draw this line and make it flame shaped. And I'll put a little bit of red back on my brush and introduce it from the bottom down here. And then finally there's just a little bit of a petal right down here. So I'm going to go in with my yellow-orange mix and do the same thing. You'll see a little part of it. And then fill it in with a little bit of red. Alright, so let's go ahead and clean off Ignacio. Let's go ahead and put the deep yellow and the orange back on our brush, and we'll start with this next petal over here. And with this next petal, it's the same deal. We're just going to go up and down following the actual direction of which this petal is facing. And And we'll go ahead and overlap this back petal over here. And now that we have that petal in, we'll go ahead and add some red onto our brush. And then again from the bottom, I'm just gonna go ahead and introduce some red. I'm just keeping my brush strokes going up. Let's go ahead and clean off Ignacio. We're gonna get some of this red off of him. And now I'm just gonna go in with deep yellow by itself. And I'm gonna introduce some of this color coming in from the top over here. So essentially I'm darkening up the bottom with the red and lightening up the top with the yellow. So let's go up and down. We're gonna create this flowery texture going down the petal. And we'll just go ahead and take a little scoop of this black and put it off to the side and add a little bit of red to it. We're just gonna make like a dark red. And now that from this bottom part, I'm just gonna bring this dark red out. There you go. That'll create a nice little shadow there for us. I'm gonna bring some of this to this petal as well. Moving right along, we're gonna do this petal right here. So I'm gonna start it off the same way with this yellow and orange mix. I'm gonna go ahead and draw out where he should go. And now we're gonna go ahead and overlap this petal that we did over here. Alright, so I'm just gonna go in with my deep yellow and I'll add some of these stripes going down. And now I'm just gonna go in with some red and fill in the bottom. This is going to be shooting up from the bottom, diagonally over to the top. Alright, perfect. Now we'll go ahead and add a little shadow to that red. Same strategy as before. It's going in from the very bottom. We're going to go ahead and skip this petal and move on to this petal here because this one is actually the one that's overlapping. So we'll go ahead and just fill him in with this yellow to orange. Alright, then I'll just add some more pure yellow onto the brush. We'll go up and down again on the top. Just creating some of these little streaks of yellow. Okay, that'll work. And now let's go ahead and put the red back on our brush. And same as before, we'll go ahead and just introduce some red onto this flower petal. Go ahead and follow the same trajectory as the petal. Now let's go ahead and get some of that dark red back onto our brush so we can mix it in down here. So for the last one, let's go ahead and clean off our brush and then we'll use some of that yellow to orange. And just like before, we'll start filling it in. And we'll go ahead and draw this petal shape, and this one's gonna overlap both of the petals that are next to it. Alright, so let's go ahead and add some yellow, and we're just gonna bring some of these yellow streaks down. Maybe add a little bit of white. Just gonna add some of these streaks going down the flower. Alright, and finally let's go in with our red paint and we'll add the red to this petal. Just like before, this red's gonna just shoot up the flower, like so. And now let's go ahead and fill in that shadow here at the bottom with that dark red mix again. We'll just bring it out a little bit. And now let's go ahead and clean off our brush again. So I'm gonna take some white and yellow, mix it together to make a light yellow. And I'm just gonna carefully go over these flowers that are in the background here. And I'm just gonna brighten these bad boys up. And I'll add a little bit of orange just to blend right back into it. So we're just highlighting the tips of these back flowers here. So now I'll go in with just a little bit of orange on Ignacio. And I'm just gonna kind of knock back this back and kind of blend it in. We got this little flower over here. So once I have that in there, I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of orange and just knock it back a little bit. And lastly, just this little guy down here with a little orange. Now that we have the ones in the back, we can go ahead and focus on the front petals now. And we're just gonna do them in the same order that we originally created them. So I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow white to my brush. And just like the other ones, I'm gonna trace him out, just like this. I'm gonna add a little bit more white to my brush. I want this to be a little bit brighter. All right, moving right along, we're gonna do this petal here. So I'm gonna start off right here where it ends and just follow the way all the way to the end. And we'll go out and trace this line again, this time with the light yellow. And now we'll just bring down a couple of these lines coming from the top. All right, that one looks pretty good. I'm gonna move on to the next one. Again, it's the yellow and the white mix. And we'll go ahead and just outline this bad boy. And the outline's gonna come all the way down on this side too. All right, let's move on to this next one here. We're just gonna outline it. And then the last one's right here. And this will be the last one to outline. Let's go ahead and add some shadows and some lines. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some black paint on my brush. And here I'm just gonna carefully outline on the outside of this yellow mark. I'm gonna outline a little shadow. And I'm gonna do that same kind of outline right here. And the little line's gonna go right here. And here we can draw the bottom shape of this petal. And then the next one's over here. And outline part of this. Alright, so now I'm gonna switch it on over to brown paint, the burnt umber. And I'm gonna have a line coming out about here. And it's gonna connect over to the inside of the petal. Last one, we'll just add a nice little line right here. And a few more next to it. Okay, and that's the flower petals. Alright gang, let's go ahead and clean off Ignacio. And I'm just gonna use a little bit more of that yellow and white mix. I'm gonna kind of dry brush it, so I'm gonna take some of the paint off of my brush. And I'm just gonna go ahead and create a little ring right around the center part of this pistil. And now I'll just take a little bit of brown, and I'm just gonna add some more brown to this center part here just to give it a little bit more color, a little bit more life. And now let's go in with some pure white, just a little bit. I'm gonna take some off on my brush, and I'm just gonna add some white highlights to this. And there you have it. Those are all the steps that you need to do in order to make this beautiful sunflower piece here. This one's nice and easy. It pops. It's very colorful. You can go ahead and sign the painting on the corner if you'd like. I just recently made a Patreon page. So if you want to go over there and pledge anything, it's much greatly appreciated. I have all these great little prizes and gifts if you want to go ahead and pledge anything. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Gabe, and until next time, stay creative. Ooh, I have these videos flowing around my head. Click them, they're wonderful stuff. We have painting classes and time lapses. Ah, it's so nice. It's so nice. Have fun.